Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of the Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host here, the Ohio Patriot. And for today's episode, we are going to talk about why condescending firearms trainers are the worst kind of gatekeeper in the fight for 2A rights. So, before we get started, obviously, I did a little beard trimming today. It was getting kind of long again. Like it was basically down to, I think, about here, give or take. And every time I was trying to sleep now, basically it was getting hit by the fans and stuff. And a lot of the hair was flying up into my face and shit. So it was kind of hard to sleep. So I was like, all right, it's time for a trim then. And then I finally trimmed it this morning and took off about probably, I don't know, 2 to 3 inches, something like that, what it is there. So I think it looks a lot better now is what it is than it did previously. It was pretty wild. So I still had to get a haircut, obviously, because my hair is getting pretty long again. It's been at least 3 or 4 months since I got a haircut now. I usually go somewhere between like 3 and 4 times a year is what it is. Usually once every like 3 to 4 months, give or take. So, and I've been needing one for a while now. I was supposed to get one last Friday, but then my cousin apparently didn't realize, and instead of taking the turn off to go into the one town where I get my haircut at, he was like, "Oh no, let me just drive you right back to your place." And it's like, bro, like we're supposed to go to the place to get me a haircut. So, but yeah, unfortunately, had to. I'm gonna go out with him later today because we were supposed to go yesterday to pick up a grocery order, but then he called me up Sunday night, and it turned out that apparently he had gone to calling hours for one of his friends who had passed. I think it was a guy he threw horseshoes with or something, as it was. And then he realized when he got back home, or I think maybe his wife or somebody realized as he was gone, because I think somebody had stayed at the house. I'm not sure if it was his wife or one of the kids or something, maybe. But basically, they had called him and were like, dude, we have no gas. Like, our gas has a leak in it or whatever right now. As they had to shut off the gas, what it was then. And he had a buddy out last night that was fixing his gas lines, what it was then, because there was like a little like micro crack in the line or something, is what it was at some point. So, but yeah, just terrible stuff, obviously. And it just sucks like that because obviously you got no gas and stuff like that when your whole house is heated with gas, is what it is. And like, everything else. Just like here with I had Saturday morning. That's why I didn't do that's why I didn't do a Slicey Boy Saturday or Sunday this week, is because about 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, I was in my bedroom sleeping, and all of a sudden, my fans went out. I'm like, what the fuck? Why is my shit out now? And I realized the power had gone out, and I ended up calling up, I think it's Ohio Edison is what I have here, and they were like, oh, you're gonna have power back at like 11:30, and I'm like, what do you mean I have power back in like 4.5 hours? Are you crazy? Like that's insane, bro. What the fuck? And then as it turned out, it was about 8:55 or so, I think, maybe 8:51, somewhere in there. So it was like almost 2 hours then. It finally came back on then. But it was interesting though, because I had set up a thing for them to like give me like a text and then a call back and stuff like that. They didn't do either one of those things until like it was either 9:30 or 10 a.m. or something like that. So it was like more than 20 minutes after the power to come back on, they were like, "Oh, your power's restored now," is what it is. And it's like, yeah, thanks for the late breaking news, bro. So anyway, but yeah, for today's episode, we're going to talk about condescending firearms trainers and how they are the worst kind of gatekeeper in the Second Amendment, because they are the ones that tend to not fight for 2A rights, is what it is there. Specifically, I was going through my Facebook Reels feed again, is what it is today, and came upon that Chicks with Triggers woman again, which I'm not sure where this woman is located. Like, I know she has a firearms trainer at this point, is what it is, which is kind of frightening, honestly, on that aspect of things, but be the case. But yeah, I'm not sure which state she's located in, but I wish I kind of knew just so I could like avoid that, like the fucking plague, is what it is. Because, like, honestly, like, she is the epitome of condescending when it comes to firearms trainers, what it is there. And specifically, it was this video here where she was using a Ruger 9mm as the go-to is what it is, and then was talking about FMJs versus hollow points and stuff like that, and how a bunch of the people that show up to her carry courses, I guess, are basically showing up with guns that are loaded with full metal jacket instead of hollow points is what it is. And the thing is, it's like when you're starting out, like I can tell you this firsthand, when you're starting out as a new gunner in this country, you don't know everything about everything. Like you just know, okay, the gun takes 9mm. Okay, what's the cheapest 9mm on the shelf? Oh, it's this. Let me grab this. Then is what it is. And you don't think about if it's hollow points or full metal jacket or anything like that's what it is there. And I also want to point out the fact that if you go back a few years now, before his passing, Paul Harrell did a great video series back in the day where he had done like a whole explanation of hollow points versus full metal jacket, what it is there. And he actually explained that when you're in a firefight and stuff like that, God forbid you got to shoot through a wall or shoot through some kind of other object like that, what it is there, where it'd be like a hard surface. There's a lot of times where that little indent that creates the hollow point will actually get filled with something and will actually basically default to becoming a full metal jacket round where it won't ever expand. It'll just keep, going through stuff is what it is there. And that was kind of the point she was trying to make was like, obviously it was over-penetration. Like she didn't say over-penetration, but that's basically what she was leading to was the over-penetration thing. And that's the thing with full metal jacket rounds versus hollow points is what it is there is, with a hollow point, like naturally if it's going to hit, a person or the intended target, whatever it is there, it's going to most likely, mushroom out and become just an object in that individual's body is what it is then. Versus with full metal jacket, you have obviously the chance for it to basically go through someone and then go through someone else is what it is then. Like, God forbid you're trying to stop, a robbery at a convenience store or something like that, and the guy is holding the clerk hostage or whatever the case be, and you shoot through the criminal and then it just happens to go through the clerk too, if that be the case then. Whereas I know there are some people out there who swear by the method of first round full metal jacket, then the rest of the mag is going to be hollow points is what it is there, which I don't agree with that just because of the fact that it's like it's either one or the other, bro. Like never try to use both is what it is there, because God forbid you were ever in a self-defense situation, there's what it is. You're gonna be on the hook for shit, and depending on the state, obviously, because there are so many anti-gun states these days is what it is, unfortunately, because there are a bunch of oath-breaking cunts is what it is there. You have these people who, whether it be a DA trying to make their name, whether it be an ADA trying to become a DA or an attorney general or something like that, and advance their political career, they will try to railroad you like a motherfucker, and God forbid they find out that you had a single full metal jacket round at the top of the mag shot off first, and then you were shooting hollow points after the fact. In a self-defense situation, they're going to try to go after you for that whole thing is what it is. Or even worse than that, I've seen people that'll be like, oh, you should stagger your rounds, where it's like full metal jacket, then hollow point, then full metal jacket, then hollow point, all the way down the mag basically is what it is there, which again, that is fucking stupid. Again, either go with one or the other. If you're going to go full metal jacket, go whole mag of full metal jacket. If you're going to go hollow point, go full mag of hollow points is what it is then. That being said, obviously for those that, don't pay attention to, the whole NATO round thing and stuff like that, our military standard issue for sidearms, as far as I'm aware to this day, actually, is still full metal jacket. And it's because they know that in combat situations, you're going to have to shoot through things in a lot of cases. And that's exactly why they use full metal jacket, is because they know they're going to have to shoot through a wall or shoot through, the exterior of a building, whatever the case be there, or something else for that matter. Like maybe there's like a fucking, like bookshelf or something that needs to get shot through, whatever the case be. And they know for a fact, like there's that possibility of, if you're using hollow points, it's going to potentially go into that object and just stay lodged in that object. It's not going to penetrate through that object and then end up going through the intended target later on. So it is there. And that's exactly why I think, honestly, in any grid down situation or any kind of Second American Civil War and stuff like that, it doesn't really matter what you're using, because in most cases you're going to actually want to have FMJs in the rounds or in the mags and stuff like that for your rounds, because you're going to want to have that kind of over penetration is what it is there, just so you can get to the intended enemy combatant, if you will, is what it is there. And I understand from a legal standpoint that, yes, there is a way to do things. And the thing is, like, a lot of people will say, oh, there's one right way or one wrong way or whatever the case be. There's a lot of right ways and there's a lot of wrong ways to do things, dude. And one of many wrong ways to do things is to just be condescending about it. You know, like, there's a way you can explain to someone, like, hey, you know, maybe you should look into these hollow points over here for this instead of these Full Metal Jacket rounds. Like, I understand they're, like, you know, twice the price usually is what it is there, but at the same time, like, God forbid you're in a situation where you're going to get jammed up by the cops or something like that because you had to defend your life in self-defense, and you end up, you know, shooting through a criminal and then end up hitting an innocent person or something like that then. But at the same time, you're not wrong to start out with FMJs, what it is, dude. And I guarantee if you look at 90% of the people walking around right now in society that, let's say they just bought their first gun or whatever the case be, their default go-to is going to be Full Metal Jacket, dude. Again, because it's the cheaper option. Because for a lot of people, you know, especially people that live in bad neighborhoods and stuff like that, they're going to sit there and they're going to buy a gun for self-defense, and they're maybe barely going to be able to afford the gun and a box of ammo with it, is what it is there to begin with. And to sit there and be condescending to them and act like, oh, they ain't shit because they're not buying hollow points and stuff like that is fucking stupid. And it's very, I'm trying to think of the word is I'm looking for it now. Might be a term, actually. I want to say detrimental, but I don't think that's what it is. Actually, yeah, I guess that would be one, actually, because it's detrimental to the Second Amendment fight overall is what it is then. Because you're basically trying to ostracize that person for their choice of ammunition when maybe that's all they can afford, you know? And instead of giving them shit for that, maybe just explain to them, like, hey, you know, it's better to, you know, have this now, but, like, in the long run, maybe try to afford this kind of ammo instead of what it is there. And that's my biggest problem in general when it comes to really ammo manufacturers in this country completely is what it is there. Because even my local shop recently, you know, it was like a couple months ago, I went up there to buy some ammo because they finally had hollow points on sale, and it was 50 round boxes of hollow points from, I think it was CCI, if I'm not mistaken. But they were still, even at their discounted price, they were still like, I think like $16 or $17 a box for 50 round boxes that it was then, versus at the time I could have went and bought 50 round boxes of FMJs that were like, it was either like $10 or $11 then. So it was like a $6 or $7 difference between those two. And now it's even more than that, because now I think, if I'm not mistaken, at the same shop, the cheapest FMJs you can buy are like, it's either $11.99 or $12.99, so it'd be like 12 or 13 then. And then the hollow points right now, not on sale, are like somewhere between like $22 and $25 or more per box. And I'm like, that's ridiculous, dude. And that's what I'm saying. Like, there should never be a time in history where handgun carry ammo is anywhere from 40 to 50 cents a round or more. Like, that's just ridiculously overpriced. And that's the problem in society, is what it is there. And that's exactly why, going back to what I said a few minutes ago, this is exactly why a lot of people, they will go into a gun store, they will buy a gun, they will ask the clerk most likely, hey, where's the 9mm section as what it is there, and they'll be told, oh, it's over there. That employee will never actually go with them over to the area. They'll just point them in the direction, and that person will just go by themselves and buy whatever is what it is, instead of that employee, that individual, that store or whatever it is there that's selling to them will be like, oh, do you want Full Metal Jacket for target practice, or do you want hollow points for carrying ammo is what it is, or do you want both for that matter? And I think this is exactly why you see people, when they first become gunners in this country, that there will be a lot of uninformed gunners what it is there, because it's the folks that are selling to them that aren't taking that extra step with a new gunner is what it is there, to actually inform them, like, hey, there is a difference, here's what it is. And obviously there's a cost difference too for that matter, and God forbid, and mind you, what I just said about the 50 round counts and stuff like that earlier, a lot of carry ammo, a lot of hollow points that are sold in this country by different ammo manufacturers and stuff like that, they're even more expensive than that is what it is, because a lot of times it won't even be a 50 round box of hollow points. It'll be a 20 round box of hollow points. And that 20 round box could be $25, $30, $35 or more is what it is, dude. And it's like, again, like, how anyone is justifying those prices is just blows my mind, honestly, completely. Because it's unjustifiable is what it is, dude. It is completely price gouging at that point, in my opinion, anyway. Like, it might not be considered price gouging, but for me personally, I consider price gouging what it is there, because you are forcing somebody to make the choice to where they're now spending double or triple the price of something else just to defend themselves or their families, for that matter. And it's just ridiculous what it is, dude. And again, I think this is exactly why you have so many people that they'll go to an ammo section in some big box store, Academy Sports, or, Bass Pro Shops, whatever it is there, and they'll just grab whatever the cheapest shit is on the rack is what it is then, dude. And why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they go grab the cheapest stuff on the shelf is what it is then? So, and especially if you're trying to stockpile ammo for that matter too, for that as well, because again, like there's, and I find it funny too, because going back to this Chicks with Triggers woman specifically, she is the same woman that wants to bitch and moan about how every time you go to a range, you should be burning off 500 rounds or more. It's like, are you fucking retarded? Like, ain't nobody affording $250 to $500 a fucking range session, lady. Like, that's just common fucking sense at that point. Like, unless you're shooting like box after box of like 22 and you're able to get like a good deal on that, like they used to have Walmart's where you could buy like that 550 packs for like $20 or whatever, which by the way don't exist anymore at Walmart's now. I believe the highest round count you can get at those places now is like the 325 auto match ones, and even those are like, I think like around like $26 or something crazy like that now, which is even more ridiculous for that matter. And that's all happened since 2020, by the way. Like, even my local, I think if I'm not mistaken, I went up there recently. I was looking at different ammo stuff because they had something on sale at the time, and they have those 550 boxes of the ones at Walmart used to be red is what it was, but these ones were like blue. So it might have been actually 525 counts is what it was for the federal 22 bulk packs is what it is there. But even they were charging like 40 or $50 for that is what it was, dude. And I'm like, bro, like, this should be less than half of this price. Like, it's ridiculous is what it is. And it's like, again, like, how do you expect people to naturally go out there and afford to do anything is what it is there when you're overpricing ammunition? And this is another thing that actually has bothered me for some time now that I'm thinking about it offhand. Why the fuck in 2026 is anything Second Amendment related, whether it be guns, whether it be gun parts, whether it be ammunition, whatever the case be, why is any of this stuff being allowed to be taxed? Because it is a direct violation of the shall not be infringed part of the Second Amendment is what it is. Like you're taxing a God-given constitutional right. Like how the fuck is that right at all? You know, you don't tax free speech, you don't tax trying to think what else it would be then. There's other parts of the Constitution that I'm thinking of offhand, but my mind's blanking on exact parts of what it is. But yeah, like specifically First Amendment is what it is. You don't tax free speech, you don't tax the right to go, you know, do religious freedom stuff is what it is there. So why the fuck are you taxing 2A rights is what it is then, dude? It's fucking nonsense. For that same aspect of things, why the fuck does the ATF exist when their literal thing is alcohol, tobacco, which are two different vices, and then firearms, which is a God-given constitutional right? So, yeah, just very irritating in general. But the thing is, though, like going back to the whole gatekeeping thing, I've seen this with a lot of other people too, for that matter, not just the Chicks with Triggers woman. There's been a lot of these firearms trainers and like different people like that's what it is there that will act like they're like their shit don't stink and then basically be this condescending asshole and try to gatekeep others is what it is there. And in the long term, this just hurts Second Amendment rights is what it is, bro, because you know, you could be ostracizing 100,000 people, and it could be those 100,000 people that are going to be the difference between a complete anti-gun fuckboy or girl, for that matter, some Bloomberg paid fucking shill, winning a primary and then winning an actual seat in the General Assembly versus somebody that actually was pro 2A that would be getting in there and actually pushing pro 2A legislation instead of pushing a bunch of oath-breaking bullshit. And like I said to begin with in this episode, a lot of these people, a lot of these quote-unquote firearms trainers are the same people who will never actually take 5 minutes to actually fight for 2A rights. They won't call up a state rep in a General Assembly to be like, hey, I understand there's this piece of legislation that's, you know, obviously anti-gun. You know, make sure this dies in committee, make sure that this never makes it to a floor vote, et cetera, there. Or they'll never show up to actually be one of the people that is actually an opponent of these pieces of legislation is what it is then. They'll just assume somebody else is going to do it for them is what it is there. And that's the exact problem with our society right now is what it is you have so many people relying on other people to do things for them. And this is exactly why the shit passes in different states. I mean, hell, I saw one today, actually, where it was that Lips of TikTok chick talking about it. And it's the state of Massachusetts now. It's some Democrat-led bill there where they are basically trying to create some Islam commission and basically give preferential treatment to Muslims to become either state reps and state senators or to be working for these people in the state government is what it is then. And it's like, first off, that is a complete violation of a whole bunch of the Constitution, not even just the First Amendment, but like a lot of other stuff too, for that matter. Not to mention there's a bunch of civil rights violations. And the fact that this is even allowed to continue on is fucking ridiculous because it is just absolute bullshit like that, dude, is what it is. And I'm so fucking sick and tired of that kind of crap right now going on. I'm getting real fucking sick and tired of the Islamification of this country too, for that matter, because we should have, like, Islam honestly should have been wiped off planet Earth 7 fucking centuries ago in a story. And the fact that we have not had a final crusade against it right now to kick it out of our country and every fucking first world nation for that matter is the exact problem with our society right now is what it is. Because these people are completely against the Constitution. They are literally trying to push Sharia law shit and have it basically take over for the Constitution, which completely do away with our Second Amendment rights for that matter entirely. And this is exactly why I have been fighting so hard for the past 7 years in this fight for 2A rights is what it is. And that's why it bothers me so much when I see these people out there that are just like, oh, but you should be using this kind of ammo versus that kind of ammo. It's like, or I don't know, maybe actually just have these people be in the fucking fight for our God-given rights is what it is, people. For the Bill of Rights, for that matter. For the 2A. And if you're not going to do that, then just shut the fuck up is what it is, honestly. Because you're part of the problem, you're not part of the solution at that point. So, anyway, I am waiting on a package to come right now, and I'm hoping it's going to get here pretty quick as what it is then, if it's not already delivered. Nope, still waiting for it to be delivered now. Oh, it's 4 stops away right now. So, yeah, it's interesting. Originally, it was supposed to be 12 to 3 today is when their window was. And then it went from that to 1 to 3, and then it went to 1:15 to 3:15. It's just now 1:15. So, ironically, they could have just kept the 1 to 3 time, and it would have been fine. Yeah, this place is really, I don't know where the hell people are now. It's like several streets over and down. Actually, it's the first time I've seen them delivering over in this area, for that matter. I don't know what this guy's problem was yesterday that was delivering to me, because so 2 things happened in that one. Or no, sorry, was it yesterday or was it 2 days ago? I think it was 2 days ago. I'm trying to remember now. It might have been last night, but it could have been the day before that, though. I think it was the day before that, actually. So, no, sorry, it was last night. Where this dude, or the chick, or whoever it was that was delivering for Amazon, they, instead of going, because the way that my road is right now, the street I live on right now is what it is, there's like 2 or 3 streets over that all you have to do is basically drive up it and then take the last turn right here, and it comes off right by where my dead end street is what it is, or where the dead end sign on my street is what it is right there. And then it basically, you just come into my apartment complex, then you can just deliver from there what it is. This person didn't understand that apparently with their GPS tracking stuff. So they, instead of going upwards and then back over towards me, that would have been maybe a quarter of a mile or so. They drove like an entire mile or so down the freaking street and then over and then back up like another half mile, whatever it is there, to my actual apartment complex. And I'm just like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, talk about wasting gas. Which, I mean, I guess it makes sense because you're a driver for a company, so it doesn't matter. You're wasting their gas is what it is. But at the same time, you're actually making shit more expensive because of that is what it is then. Whereas you could be more efficient and just be like, no, we'll just come up here and go there and then go there. And it's like, and they could deliver it differently as what it is there. But one of the two, instead of putting it right by my door, they literally set it on the very end of my porch step is what it is there, to where anybody that was walking along could have just grabbed it and walked off with it then. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, you people suck. But I'm not surprised by that, honestly, dude, because there's been several of these people that are just not good. I also like how it says delivery facilitated by Amazon for like a lot of these now. So I'm not sure if that's them directly delivering it now or if it's them doing like third-party stuff is what it is there. Because I know at least one of their people that delivered the other day was just a shitty deliverer is what it is there, because instead of delivering it to my building here, which is not the first building in the complex, it's a couple down, then they decided to deliver to the fucking first building instead because it was the easiest one to deliver to. And I'm just like, bro, it literally says in the parking lot there, like, what these addresses are for these places. Like, this is clearly not the address you're delivering to. Why the hell are you dropping it here? So I was pretty pissed off about that one the other day. Hopefully they'll deliver my front door properly today, because I really don't feel like going out and grabbing it from another person's area there for 2 reasons. The first being, obviously, that it is raining right now, as far as I'm aware. And the second being that it's just a shitty day. I don't feel like going outside right now is what it is, dude, until I have to later today to go pick up groceries and stuff then in a couple hours. But, yeah, very irritating either way. So, but yeah, the stuff I'm getting delivered today is some medical supply stuff for the little EMT kit that I'm making. Or not EMT kit, I guess it'd be like a first responder kit. It would be like first aid kit, basically. They'll be carrying with me from now on. Obviously not today, but like when I go out on Friday, I'll probably put it through one of the bags and then have it be a secondary bag with me is what it is then. So, But yeah, it's basically just like some gloves, some iodine stuff, some saline solution and stuff like that. If I have to like, you know, properly clean somebody's wound and stuff like that if something happens. And then a couple other things too. And then basically I already got some chest seals that I'm gonna throw in there. Got a couple other things I'm gonna throw in there. Some gauze, some various adhesive tape and stuff like that to keep things in place, et cetera, et cetera. So, but yeah, it's a whole thing. And like I said before, it is something people should look into, man. If you're gonna be doing stuff, you should always have a first aid kit with you in your car trunk, whatever it is, doesn't matter. Just because you never know. You never know if you're gonna be involved in a situation where you're gonna have some fucking nutter do some kind of mass casualty event wherever you're at, you know, whether it be some kind of get together, whether it be you celebrating some holiday and some picnic or whatever it is there, or whether it be going into Walmart or something like that, just to get some stuff, and then, you know, fucking psychotic nut job with a fucking AK walks in, just like that piece of shit in 2019 there in Texas, and just starts blowing off rounds at people. I bring them up specifically too, by the way, in this whole thing we're talking about right now, because it was that directly led to Walmart getting rid of a lot of ammo in their ammo section, from 9mm to 5.56, 308, and a bunch of other stuff they used to sell back in the day, which is ironic given the fact that, as far as I'm aware, they will still sell 7.62 by 54R for quote unquote hunting, even though that caliber is more powerful than 5.56 is what it is. So, but yeah, they made the Waltoners made some bullshit deal with Bloomberg to basically yank a bunch of the carry ammos off the shelf and stuff like that. So that's why I don't sell 38 special anymore. That's why I don't sell 357 anymore, which is kind of stupid because 357 actually is it could potentially be a hunting rounds what it is there. For whether it be handgun hunting or whether it be lever action rifle hunting and stuff like that. The same thing with 30-30 for that matter, depending on the state, obviously. They also stopped selling, I believe, 350 Legend too, if I'm not mistaken, which is bullshit because that's where you could get the cheapest one before. I remember back in the day, and this is what bothers me quite a bit actually thinking about now. Like, if I had the money back in the day, I would have stockpiled 350 Legend from Walmart like crazy, dude, because that shit was like $11 a box back then. The cheapest one I can get now for the exact same practice ammo is legitimately $17 fucking a box right now. So, and obviously, if I was going to go do hunting for white-tailed deer here in Ohio and had to do 350 Legend hunting and stuff like that, it would be the cheapest hunting rounds they have, at least in my local anyway, are like, I think it's like $27 a box or something like that for 20 rounds, which is just ridiculous, by the way. It's just absolutely insanity. So, like I said, it's just, you can't tell me that the components of this stuff cost that much, dude, to where you're not making like a huge profit off of it when you're selling that stuff, which I know for a fact that's what a lot of gun shops rely on, what it is there, because they're not making a lot on the actual guns themselves they're selling. They're making money on the ammunition, various gun parts, whether it be charging handles, whether it be stocks for rifles, whether it be even little spring packages and stuff like that's what it is there, dude, like an OPS kit and stuff, because I found one of those up there recently in my local. And now, granted, I could get it online for like, I think it was like $6 to $8 or something like that. They were charging like $13 or $14 for it, but I still needed it, obviously, because I was missing a D10 is what it was then from the one rifle I had when I was trying to redo the backplate on it because it was messed up or whatever. And yeah, the shit went, or wait, no, sorry, that's not what it was. It was, I was trying to redo the buffer tube on there because I realized that the buffer tube itself in that particular gun, I think it was actually, I believe it was actually when they were doing I think it was one of the one horse lowers, if I'm not mistaken. Or no, was it one horse? Was it Anderson? No, it was one of the Anderson lowers before they went out of business there, or not sorry, not before they went out of business, before they got acquired by Ruger is what it was then. So it was one of the Anderson lowers I had bought a couple winters ago then. That particular gun lower was, I believe, made a little bit off spec is what it was then, because instead of the buffer tube being able to go in there properly and lock in, 100% is what it is there, it was not able to do that. And I realized after the fact that when my cousin's buddy was putting the stuff together, he even realized, because he gave him a different buffer tube for it, what it was then, that it was the actual lower then, because when you screwed the stuff in there, it was not locking into place all the way it should be is what it is there. And it was when I was doing that stuff that I was fooling around with it, and I wasn't realizing like where the detent was, because it was the detent in the spring. And all of a sudden, I just see something go flying, and I think what it was is this little teeny little baby spring there is what it was. Had gone flying. I have no idea where it's at. It's still in my bedroom someplace there. I'm probably going to find it as I'm moving out one of these days. But yeah, that went flying, disappeared in the bedroom someplace. The detent went flying up and then back down into the actual lower itself then. And so I had to get a new spring for that detent is what it was then, to keep in place there for the buffer tube is what it was. So yeah, just very unfun in general. But again, now at least I know my skill set when it comes to, hey, you need to have somebody else building this stuff for you, and if something's wrong with it, like, just give it back to them to fool with, because they actually have the equipment in place, like a vise and stuff like that, to keep it steady, do that stuff. Whereas you're trying to do this with bare hands, where you would need like 4 arms basically and 4 hands to be able to actually keep everything good to go as what it is there. So, but anyway, it is what it is. So, but needless to say, going back to what I was saying earlier though, yeah, it comes down to being, going back full circle, the people that can be firearms trainers in this country that are super condescending are the exact problem with the Second Amendment right now, because they are the gatekeeper types that will sit there and bitch and moan and bitch you out for something that is minuscule at the end of the day, versus being able to actually speak to you in a correct manner, to where it's like, hey, you can do this or you can do that, and then there's this other thing in the entirety is what it is there. And I'm not sitting there and saying you shouldn't have, at least one mag of, hollow points for your guns and stuff like that, but at the same time, like, you having a mag full of FMJs and stuff like that as your carry ammo is fine in the meantime, dude, because reality is probably 95% of the time you're not going to need it, is what it is, dude. Like, you're not going to need to take the shot. And God forbid you take the shot, like, again, there is a possibility of penetration, but at the same time, there's a very real possibility you just hit your target and it just goes and smacks right against the fucking skull and stuff like that, dude. And then packs their skull, is what it is. And just stays there. Like, it might not be a through and through and stuff like that. Which, from what I've seen over the years and stuff like that, it seems like that's actually what a lot of the through and throughs are, actually, is full metal jacket versus hollow points is what it is then. Because it just doesn't stop, obviously. Because it's that centrifugal force, it's that momentum and stuff like that that keeps it going. So, but anyway, either way, it is what it is. Hopefully we'll have a chat with Honda tonight. I'm not sure if he's going to do his Tuesday chat like normal, or if it's going to be something where he's got to do Wednesday chats. I know he's been having health issues lately. He had some kind of a cyst on his, I believe, inner thigh is what it is there. And it apparently burst internally and gave him like the beginning of sepsis is what it is. So, which is not good, obviously. I know he's been fighting that off for like the last week or so now with blood poisoning and stuff like that. So he's lucky to be alive, honestly, at this point, because he could have easily gone on a septic shock and what it is. But yeah, you really need to, with that kind of stuff, you really need to realize what's going on and make sure if it's going to pop, it pops externally then and not internally, because you don't want to go in that bloodstream to kill you, man. So But anyway, yeah, I'm not sure what the fuck this Amazon guy's doing right now. If they're still in the same area, it's like they're trying to figure it. I don't know if their GPS is messed up or what it is. Like they're trying to figure out like where to go here. It seems like is it still saying 4 stops away? They just like you just stop now is what it is. I think maybe they just found a place down there. So one of these days, I need to take a little trip actually when it's nice out. Maybe go into one of these parks. Here's what it is. Because I'm looking right now at the map that they have here, and there's at least 2 parks within like probably a mile or so of my house right now. Or not my house, my apartment right now. So yeah, it might be a situation where I just need to go down and check out one of these parks as it is then. See if they're cool, see if they got some swings or whatever that can fit my fat ass on them is what it is then. Could do some adult swinging is what it is then. Be a kid again, you know. Sometimes it's fun, dude, to do that kind of stuff. Just go to the park as an adult and just jump on a swing and just swing for a little bit, you know. Have some childhood nostalgia of what it is there. My sister and I did that before a couple of times, but the problem now is it seems like a lot of these parks are not. Because I remember back when we were growing up, it was you had like it was the chains on the side, and then it was like this big ass fucking like seat. That was basically just like a big piece of tire rubber, essentially. I think it was the same exact kind of material that was used as the seat. Obviously, if it's in the hot sun all day, it's going to be burning your ass like crazy, and that fucking hurts like shit. And don't even get me started on the old metal slides back in the day, dude. Holy fuck. Uh, but yeah, even these plastic slides they have now are fucking hot to the touch, depending on how hot it is outside and stuff like that. But yeah, those old swing sets that were nice. They were fun because they could fit adults on those. It was want to go swing then, but unfortunately now they have like a lot of smaller ones for kids and stuff like that, to where your adult sizes aren't going to fit on there. So, or they're not built to keep up a person my size of it is then without breaking and stuff. So, but it is what it is. So, anyway, but yeah, my package right now is 3 stops away, so hopefully I'll be able to get it here in the next 20 minutes or so, depending on how long this person takes. So I'm going to go ahead and call it for this one right now. I think we pretty much beat this one on the ground currently. Before we leave, I'm going to tell that metal slide story real quick. When I was about probably 9 or 10, maybe 11 at most, my mom had taken us someplace to do something, and then on the way back, we were talking about going to a park or something. I think is what it was, to go swinging or whatever, and go play on some slides and stuff. And she's like, "Okay, we'll go to this park or whatever because we hadn't gone to this park or whatever before." And she didn't realize that particular park was a metal slide on it is what it was there. And because it was super hot, because it was like summertime then, this slide basically was just a fucking oven. And so we were trying to climb it, and it was like hurting our hands a little bit. And then she's like, "Well, you're too high up. Don't climb down, just slide down, or whatever." And my God, dude, it was basically like a frying piece of bacon at that point. We were basically crispy bacon at that point, because it was just like just searing our fucking skin all the way down that slide. Like it hurt so badly. So, and then she realized after the fact and apologized to us. She's like, "I'm so sorry, kid. I didn't realize it was that hot." And she felt real bad for the rest of the day. I think she ended up getting us ice cream or something. That's what it was. So, yeah, she's a great woman. I miss her so much, is what it is, dude. It'll be 3 years. Or wait, 2 years, 3 years. When did she die now? Was it 2024? Was it 2025? No, I think it was 2025, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it? No, it would be, it was before that. Was it January 24th? I'm trying to remember now because I know the first anniversary I was living with my sister, so this would be this past year. No, I think it is 3 years actually. Now I think about it, because it would have been 2024 then. Yeah, because I was 30. Yeah, that's right. Because I was 39 then, and I'll be 42 this coming January. So it'll be 3 years then. Yeah, sad, man. Really sad. Not sure where the hell this guy's going now currently. I would think it'd be coming up like the same where they're on right now, and then just like zipping and then zipping and zipping, and it's right towards me then. They are way far away right now. They're probably at least a half mile away from me right now, if not a little further than that. So, but hopefully it'll be here pretty soon though. But yeah, like I said, it's just ridiculous when you have these people trying to gatekeep and stuff like that. It's like the same people that back in 2021, 2022 time period when Ohio was becoming a constitutional carry state, they were a bunch of firearms trainers. It was specifically, I remember it was there's about 3 or 4 of them that went on the local news stations and stuff like that to bitch and moan about like this is going to fuck up our profit margins and stuff like that. And one that was most outspoken about it was like this older black guy is what it was. And he's like, yeah, this is going to fuck up my profits for doing carry stuff is what it is, bro. And it's like, maybe be a better firearms trainer then, brother. Or maybe, I don't know, get into other kinds of different classes and stuff like that, like rifle courses and shotgun courses and stuff like that, you know? Maybe don't try and charge like $150 to $200 a fucking 8-hour session for a fucking concealed carry permit class, especially when there's someone around here that are like half that price and are better quality for that matter. And that's one thing that bothers me the most, actually, going back to that Chicks and Triggers woman. What it sounds like to me is she's one of these people that'll do the carry course stuff, but then force you to bring your own firearm and your own ammunition, versus there are some of these people, especially here in Ohio, where they will charge a lot less. It'll be about half the price that a lot of these minorities charge what it is for these carry courses. And they will actually provide the guns for you along with the ammunition, all included in that price tag. There's one specifically here about maybe 10 minutes from where I live right now that if I was going to go get my CCW right now, I would go to them, honestly, because they provide a pistol and they provide a revolver for you to try on the range, so that you can choose what you want to have is what it is then for your carry gun that are on, and they provide the ammunition for those guns. And I believe their course overall is like, it's either $65 or $75, maybe a little more than that now, but I know a couple of years ago when I was looking into it, I think it was like somewhere between like 65 and $75, versus these people that were up in like Cleveland and stuff like that were bitching and moaning about that back in 22. That particular guy was charging like 150 or more for a fucking carry course where you had to provide your own firearm and ammunition for it. And it's like, talk about screwing people over, dude. So it's just ridiculous. This is what it is, dude. Anyway. But yeah, it's like it kind of reminds me of these same people where they'll try to like speed run to profit is what it is there, because you'll have these, like black owned businesses or whatever the case be that are, different restaurants and stuff like that, where they understand the places that they're in are like super low income. And if you're going to actually make a profit there, it would be, your plate of food would be like 10, maybe $12 at most is what it is there. And they're trying to charge people like $40, $50 for a fucking plate of food that's like a single rib, a fucking scoop of baked beans, and like some collard greens or something on it then. And it's like, are you fucking retarded? Are you high as fuck? Like, it's just ridiculous, dude, is what it is. Because you basically have like maybe $5 of food on that plate at most, if even that much. And you're trying to charge these people like an extra zero on the end of it is what it is then. So it's just craziness is what it is, bro. And then they wonder why they go out of business within like a month or two. That's what it is. And it's like, it's not that hard to figure out, man. Because your soul food is way overpriced and it sucks. So, anyway. But anyways, that's about it for today's episode. I will be back, like I said, hopefully tonight with Honda and Company, but I'm not sure if we're gonna do one tonight or not. So if we do one tonight, it'll be the Gear Frog chat tonight. If we do it tomorrow, it'll be Gear Frog chat tomorrow. Then who knows? So it'll either be tonight or it'll be Wednesday. Then I'm assuming. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and it's like my Amazon package is almost here. Then so I'm gonna go ahead and go take the sheet off my door window there so I can see the guy coming in, or gal, or whoever's delivering it. I'm not sure if it's going to be a guy or a woman. So yeah, I want to make sure I can see them delivering it then, and then go grab it immediately then. And I got to go jump in the shower then after that then. So anyway, it's been fun. It's been real. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Like I said, I'll be back hopefully tonight with Honda and them, then I'll be back on this channel on Friday with Freedom Friday. I am going to try to seriously do at least an episode, if not 2 episodes, of Slicey Boy Saturday/Sunday this weekend, as long as I have time. It just depends. I don't know if I'm going to go to my aunts or not then, because I need to go down there and go fishing one of these days soon. I also need to go do some other stuff too, for that matter. So it just depends on what I have time is what it is there. But I might honestly start doing Slicey Boy episodes like during the week is what it is then, and then just do them as like Tuesday edition, Wednesday edition, Thursday edition, et cetera, when I have time then. So, because I've gotten at least a handful of knives now that I really, really want to do comparisons of and stuff like that I haven't got a chance to do yet. That way I can probably put them away, that's what it is, into the bins that they belong in, that's what it is. So, that is one thing I figured out too, by the way. There's different tote things you can buy on Amazon that are smaller, and they are perfect for putting the knives back in their original packages and then just setting them in there. And you can just do like a stacking thing of like 20 or 30 different knives, depending on what they are, if they're fixed blades or if they're folders and stuff like that, and different things along those lines, obviously. Of course, you have like really long ones that are like, machete styles, or like the long ass like fixed blades and stuff like that you're going to use for like bushwhacking and stuff. Those are going to need to be in a much longer bin than what it'll be. So anyway, but yeah, that's about it for today though. Hope you guys enjoy this. I will see you all in the next one. You guys stay safe, stay vigilant, always be carrying, always situationally aware. Always have the right equipment with you, which besides the firearm, it should always be some kind of first aid kit if that be the case, because, if you got to poke some holes, you should be able to seal some holes. And God forbid, you got to, seal a hole on yourself. So you might as well carry at least the chest seal and some other stuff with you is what it is then. So, but yeah, till later. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Have a good one. Have a good rest of your Tuesday. Later.